Good evening, friends. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is your channel, Gnosis Arizona. And tonight, our topic of conversation has to do with sexual transmutation. This is transmutation of our creative energies, that source of creative power that exists in each and every one of us. We started having this topic being mentioned in our past series when we were speaking about working with fear and anxiety, and how is it that we can use of this creative energy within us to fuel our inner spiritual work. And for such purpose, we have the practices of both Pranayama and HAM-SAH. So let's start with a little bit of Hermetic science. This Hermetic science, this is a precursor to this gnosis that Samael shares with us as an integrated body of knowledge. And what we find here is basic fundamental instruction for all of us so that we can start piecing together the great mysteries of the universe. So as a consequence, this is more of a pre-gnosis topic than gnosis as a body of doctrine itself. Nevertheless, in the Kybalion, where this wisdom of the 7 principles of manifestation is being offered, the authors state, the universe and all it contains is a mental creation of the all. Verily indeed, all is mind. The all creates in its infinite mind countless universes, which exist for eons of time, and yet to the all, the creation, development, decline, and death of a million universes is as the time of the twinkling of an eye. This teaching is beautiful, but for us that we are accustomed of seeing forms and images behind these abstract subjects, then let's see this thing, the mind, rather than the mind. Let's see it as a substance that exists throughout creation, in which everything becomes crystallized, as the cosmic mind. And that cosmic mind is Prakriti. Prakriti is the 5th manifestation of our Divine Mother. And that igneous principle that helps fecundate this creation, this force, is called the cosmic Christos. For convenience, as we communicate in this particular lessons, let's speak of it as the cosmic Christ. And in the Hindi tradition, this Christ, this principle, is represented by Vishnu. And Vishnu is known in the Hindi tradition as the destroyer. So these 2 fundamental elements are key in the practice of Pranayama and HAM-SAH. And we must learn how to use them. How do we do that? In the Yellow Book, Samael Aun states, Prana is the great breath. Prana is the cosmic Christ. Prana is the life that throbs in each atom as it throbs in each sun. So the substance, this principle of the Christ that exists throughout all of the vastness of creation, the same as the principles of the Father, Mother, Ava, and Aima, which we in the Western culture know as the Holy Spirit. The substance of the Holy Spirit also exists throughout all of creation, because the Holy Spirit is the one that helps craft creation itself. So here we see how this force permeates throughout everything that exists. And in his Yellow Book, Samael says, fire burns because of prana. Water flows because of prana. The wind blows because of prana. The sun exists because of prana. The life we have is prana, and nothing could exist in the universe without prana. And so, the topic of pranayama. Pranayama is a compound word of 2 Sanskrit words. Prana is the vital life force. It is that emanation that comes from the crown of life. Prana is that force that enables everything to exist. And the word ayama, it means expansion. It means regulation. It means control. So when we see the Sanskrit word pranayama, this is an exercise in which we can learn to regulate, to control the flow of this vital force within our constitution. This is what we're going to do. In one of his works, one of his Christmas messages, that is titled The Three Mountains, Samael speaks very specifically about the topic of sexual transmutation. And he says, the sexual transmutation of the creative waters into creative energy, since ancient times, was studied in the initiatic colleges of Egypt, of Mexico, Peru, Greece, Chaldea, and Rome. This ancient millenary wisdom is a wonderful teaching to apply today in this modern world. Because now we have the opportunity of working with the flow of these forces and directing them inward and upward so that they can help fuel not only the work of our inner spiritual development, but also help us awaken the faculties, the virtues, and the abilities of the 7 primary magnetic centers that exist within the constitution of the human being. Because prana exists in the food that we eat, in the air that we breathe, in the water that we drink, in everything. We can then route it throughout the body through a specific section of our nervous system. And in the Yellow Book, Samael explains this by saying the nervous system is provided with the richest prana when the seminal energy is refined and transformed. This rich prana is deposited in the brain as pure Christic energy, the wine of light. We are here to learn to transmute this prana into this wine of light, into this pure Christic energy that we can deposit in our brain, that we can route and send directly to the base of our spine to help in this particular transmutation. Why is it that we must bring this particular energy consciously into the brain? Well, knowing that there is a Hermetic principle that states, as above, so below. The reflection of the tree of life exists within our own constitution as a microcosmic man, as a microcosmos. And it happens to be in our head where we find the 3 atoms that exist of the Father, of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. These 3 atoms that in the tree of life, in that logoid triangle, are a representation of Keter, the Ancient of Days, Chokmah, the Cosmic Christ, and Binah, the manifestations of the Holy Spirit. We speak in terms of atoms, not because we are referring to electrons and neutrons and protons, but rather in the context of an indivisible particle, as the smallest unit possible of something that cannot be divided any further into anything else. And these 3 atoms exist in our head. The atom of the Father corresponds to the brain. The atom of the Son corresponds to the pituitary gland. And the atom of the Holy Spirit corresponds to the pineal gland. And there is a connection from the brain, the pituitary, and the pineal gland with other key elements of the body. That atom of the Father that corresponds to the brain, well, it is associated with our intellect and our thinking processes. The atom of the Son that is associated with the pineal gland, the pituitary gland, corresponds to the heart. And that of the Holy Spirit that is right there in that pineal gland, it corresponds with our sexual creative organs. So notice that we are seeking to move this prana from the source of our creative waters up our spine, bring it into the brain to help re-energize, to help bring all of that force into our brain, and then bring it down and deposit it in the heart. This is what we are seeking to do. And we benefit from this because the brain, being an instrument of the mind, well, it is an instrument that exists within us that can give us a connection to our Divine Mother, to Prakriti, to that cosmic mind, to that fifth manifestation. As a matter of fact, Samael states, an intimate connection exists between the mind, prana, and the creative waters. We can gain dominion over the mind and prana by controlling the seminal energy with the force of willpower. We do this by combining our willpower and our objective imagination, as the Master says, in vibrant harmony. So as we make a conscious effort to see the flow, as we sing the mantras and methodically breathe, inhale, and exhale, the exercise of the movement of these creative energies will then nourish those objective views, that objective imagination. That objective imagination will become more vivid, and the clearer and more vivid that becomes, the greater the influence it exerts over the transmutation of the creative waters. And thus it becomes a cycle that starts building upon itself. It helps transmute, the energy becomes available. That available energy helps make those images a lot more clear. It helps make that willpower stronger, of better use for the innermost. And as that happens, that objective imagination, that clairvoyance starts influencing the transmutation of the waters as well, making the transmutation even better. But how does this energy flow? In the Upanishads, the Varaha Upanishad, which are the secret teachings of Vishnu, these secret teachings come from that divine being that incarnated, that force, that power of the cosmic Christ. He states, the nadis are these channels, these conduits, penetrate the body from the soles of the feet to the crown of the head. In them is prana, the breath of life. And in that life abides Atman. Atman is your being, my being, our Father who is in secret. In that life abides Atman, the innermost, which is the abode of Shakti, the Divine Mother, creatrix of the animate and inanimate worlds. Notice how all of these forces of creation exists available to us right here and right now. So let's speak about pranayama. And there is a variation of the exercise that is meant for women and a variation of the exercise that is meant for men. Why is that? Within our constitution, there are two semi-ethereal, semi-physical nadis, channels, that entwine in the shape of a number 8 along the spine. These channels are known as Ida and Pingala. Ida and Pingala are mentioned by the Apostle John in the book of Revelation. In chapter 11, he speaks of these two channels, of these two conduits within the microcosmic man, as the two witnesses before the temple of God. And these channels, well, they originate within our sexual creative organs, and they see their opposite polarity at the root of our nose. Down there at the root of our nose, in that space close to the hypothalamus, right there where the atom of the Father resides. And because they connect to the root of our nose on the left and on the right nostril, as they entwine in the shape of a number 8, Each one of those channels connects to a specific element of our sexual constitution. The left nostril is of a lunar nature. At the root of the left nostril, we see the emergence of Ida. Ida is a channel that allows for the flow of the lunar atoms that exist within our creative waters. And because it entwines along the spine, the left nostril corresponds with the right testicle. Pingala is in the right nostril, at the root of the right nostril, and Pingala is of a solar nature. The solar atoms that exist within our creative waters flow through Pingala. And because Pingala entwines along the spine, it connects to the left testicle in men. But Samael tells us something. He says it is unquestionable that in women, the order of this pair of temple olives is harmoniously reversed. So what exactly does that mean? That means that in the men, in the left nostril, we see Ida. In the right nostril, we see Pingala. So for the women, in the left nostril, we see Pingala of a solar nature, and on the right nostril, we see Ida of a lunar nature. And if it starts in the right nostril, it corresponds with the left ovary. If it starts on the right nostril, it corresponds to the left ovary. And if it starts on the left nostril, it corresponds with the right ovary itself. What happens when we start breathing and singing these mantras, transmuting these creative energies? The flow of solar and lunar atoms initiates. And as it flows and they cross each other at something called the Triveni, at the very base of the spine, allow me to bring your attention to the right-hand side of the screen. At the base of the spine, the flow of those solar and lunar atoms starts generating a force of induction. And that flow starts, as it starts spinning, as it starts flowing around the spine, it generates that magnetic induction that awakens the fire of Kundalini. It has the ability to generate those sparks of fire of Kundalini and to enable the flow of Kundalini upwards. As that flow rises, the moment that we are able to awaken that fire of Kundalini through the great mysteries of the magic of love, Kundalini will flow through a series of concentric channels that exist within the spine itself. At the very center of the spine, there is a very, very thin, gentle thread that is called the Brahmarandra. This very slim channel that some say it is as thick as the thread of a spider web. It is right there through which the fire rises. But this channel is contained within another one called the Chitrini Nadi. And Chitrini is inside the Vajrayani Nadi, and Vajrayani is inside Susumna. So Susumna is that main corridor through which all of this energy rises all the way up to the brain. And as this fire rises, eventually reaches the points of connection of the different chakras, and these chakras will then open, granting the abilities, the faculties, and the powers to the practitioner. All of this happening in a way that is very methodical, in a way that is not mechanical, but that is regulated by the merits that exist in our heart. So, Samael, again, he has told us it is unquestionable that in women, this order of this pair of temple olives is harmoniously reversed. So, dear ladies, as you see this, how do we practice this Egyptian Christic pranayama? And I will tell you in a second why it's called like that. We're going to start by setting ourselves comfortable in a comfortable posture. To do this, you can sit comfortably on a chair Or you can sit on the floor. If you can, sit comfortably in a lotus posture. And we are going to orient our body so that we are facing east. All of the great masters, as they perform these practices, they always orient themselves to the place where the sun rises. That sun, that is the embodiment of this cosmic Christic force. So as we're facing east, as a disciple, we're going to pray to our Divine Mother. And we're going to pray with complete devotion and sincerity, and we're going to ask our Divine Mother to help awaken our consciousness, to help awaken our fire of Kundalini, to make active this igneous force that exists within us, that is a manifestation of the Divine Mother herself. How do we ask for that? We ask using the simplest of words. See those words flow through you as they emanate directly from the temple of your heart. Divine Mother, we're here humbly at your presence, and we ask of you, we beg of you that you awaken our consciousness, awaken our fire of Kundalini. Guide, direct the flow of these solar and lunar atoms alongside our spine. Give us the opportunity to experience the sparks of the flame of your sacred fire. So once we have invoked our Divine Mother, the chest, the neck, and the head, they should all make a straight line. They should all be vertical. Let's not lean our body forward. Let's not lean our head back or to the sides. We will stay on a neutral posture where there is no tension. And we will rest the palms of our hands gently on our legs in a posture that is comfortable for you, in whatever comes to you as anatomically correct. Some may try to exercise some mudras. Others will cross their fingers. Whatever is more comfortable for you, do that so that you are not distracted. And when it comes to your mind should be directed towards your being. It should be directed towards your innermost, towards your Divine Mother. And it should always be in a state of adoration, of gratitude, of gratefulness for the opportunity to do this practice. So as we're sitting facing east and we're sitting comfortably with our hands resting gently on our lap, on our legs, our body is in a neutral posture. Our attention is directed inward. We have invoked our Divine Mother. We close our eyes so that we are no longer distracted by the mundane things of this world. So that we're not distracted by any impressions that may come from the sense of sight. And then we start our exercise. As women, we will start by closing our left nostril with our index finger. In this practice, we will always use our right hand. We will close our left nostril and we will inhale by mentally chanting the mantra Don. As we are inhaling, we sing the mantra Don. Singing the mantra and the inhalation happen at the same time. As this is happening simultaneously, we fill our lungs and we use our thumb to close our right nostril. And we hold our breath. And as we are holding our breath, we will use our objective imagination, our willpower, to send prana downward into the base chakra of the spine. The chakra is known as the Church of Ephesus in the book of Revelation. This is the chakra Muladhara that exists at the base of the spine in the coccyx. And as we have our nostrils pinched and closed, and we are sending that prana downward into that church of Ephesus at the base of the spine. While we're doing this, seeking to awaken Kundalini, we will pronounce the mantra Sa mentally. So, Tong, send the energy down. Sa. This is mentally. And as we are exhaling out the right nostril, we mentally vocalize the mantra Ham. Dong Sa Ham. Singing it with a silent word. Dong Sa Ham. And once we do that, that is half of one pranayama. We still have to do the other half. How do we do the other half? We start inhaling through the left nostril. If we're inhaling, the mantra is Tong. Once we fill our lungs, we pinch our nostrils. The second mantra is Ra, mentally. As we are visualizing, sending that prana to the magnetic center of the coccyx. And when we're ready to exhale, with the mantra Ham. Tong Sa Ham, Tong Ra Ham are these mantras. Tom Sa Ham, Tom Ra Ham. How many times should we do this? In the yellow book, it says 6 pranayamas in a row should be performed at dawn and then at dusk, in the morning and in the evening. 6. Ton Raham, Ton Saham. Ton Raham, Ton Saham. Depending on the version of the book, it will say, repeat this complete process 6 more times, twice a day at dusk and dawn. That is suggesting to do it 7 times. Which one is right? You can do it 6. You can do it 7. Put it to practice. Determine what works best for you. And then you will know. So we do this, Ton Saham, Ton Raham, and once we are done with these 6 pranayamas, we must finish the exercise. How do we do this? We will do a prostration facing east. We kneel on the ground and we place the palms of our hand on the floor, the thumbs of the 2 hands coming together. And as we are prostrated, we will incline over our hands and we will rest our forehead as we are in that prostration towards the east on the back side of the hands. And in that posture, in that Egyptian posture, we will vocalize out loud the mantra Ra 7 times. Ra. 7 times. This is why this practice is known as the Egyptian Christic Pranayama. We are making use of these Egyptian postures, and we are sending this Christic prana willingly, willfully, objectively, down to the church of Ephesus, to the chakra, Muladhara, so that that sacred fire starts enlivening itself, so that we can experience sparks of Kundalini. Can pranayama awaken the flames of Kundalini? Lamentably, no. For this purpose, we must rely on the magic of the super dynamics of love. But the sparks of Kundalini, the sparks of this fire, are powerful enough to give you a transcendental experience. This is how we do the practice. Because at some point there was confusion. Oh, well, women do it like that. Men do it different. What is the right way? Samael comes to clarify, and he says, men and women can do the exercise the same. Just go ahead and do it the same. The Divine Mother knows how to move these energetic flows. Don't worry. Focus your willpower, your objective imagination in sending that prana down to the base of the spine. To see it rise to the brain, send it down to the base of the spine, sing the mantras, do the exercise, but do it consciously. Don't do it mechanically. So let's explain it once again, now in the same esoteric practice as it would apply for men. That again, both men and women can do it just the same. Gentlemen who listen to this, on our left nostril, at the base of the nose, we see the root of Ida. Ida is of a lunar nature. Ida corresponds with the right testicle. At the root of the nose, on the right-hand side, we see Pingala. Pingala is of a solar nature. It corresponds with the left testicle. And as we alternate, we invite the flow of solar and lunar atoms through these two channels. Again, the flow of these two sources of energy, as it converges, as it comes close to one another, it generates an inductive force that will trigger the sparks and awaken the fire of Kundalini. So how do we do this? Men, we sit comfortably on a chair. If you can sit comfortably in the lotus posture, do so. But if not, sit comfortably on a chair facing east. Pray to your Divine Mother. Invoke your Divine Mother with complete devotion, with sincerity. Ask her that she awakens your consciousness, that she awakens the fire of Kundalini. And as you're sitting there comfortably, make sure that your spine, your neck, your head, that they are making a perfectly vertical line. Remain there in a neutral posture without any tension. Your hands resting comfortably on your legs. Bring your hands together if that works for you. Your mind should be directed inward towards your being, towards your innermost, towards your Divine Mother, loving her, adoring her. Close your eyes. Close your eyes so that you're not distracted with any imagery, with any visual impressions that are affecting you, influencing you in that immediate environment. So how do we perform the exercise? Close your right nostril with the thumb of your right hand. And mentally, as you are inhaling, sing the mantra Tong. Seal both of your nostrils with your index and your thumb. As you are sealing your nostrils and you're holding your breath, mentally sing the mantra Sa and send that prana down to the base of the spine. As you're sending it and you're singing Sa, eventually you will need to exhale. Exhale slowly from your right nostril. So you let go of your thumb, and as you're exhaling, mentally sing the mantra Ham. Tong Sa Ham. That is half of a pranayama. Because we have to do the second half of it, what we will do is that we will then inhale through the right nostril. Mentally inhaling, singing always the mantra Tong. Pinch both nostrils, hold your breath, this time the mantra Ra. And as we're doing this, we're sending that prana downward into the base of the spine, to the chakra, Muladhara. And when we're getting ready to exhale, let go of the index finger, exhale out the left nostril. Mentally sing the mantra Ham. Tong Saham, Tong Raham. Those are the mantras of pranayama. Inhale, we see that energy rising, getting all the way up to the brain. If you imagine that the spine has the shape of a staff of shepherds, that curves. You can see that energy rising all the way up to the brain, coming down to the heart. But as you are closing your nostrils, send that prana back down into the base of the spine, to that chakra muladhara. Sing those mantras, Tom, Sa, as you send it down. Exhale, Ham. On the other side, Tom, Ra, send it down. Ham, exhale, out the other nostril. This is the way that we perform this esoteric, Christic pranayama. Again, how many times? The recommendation is 6. 6 full pranayamas. Tom Saham, Tom Raham, that is 1. Tom Saham, Tom Raham, that is 2 to 6. Depending on the edition of the book that you're reading, some will say 6, others will suggest 7. 6, 7. Put it to practice. You will know. Allow yourself to be moved by that intuition. And once you complete this practice, that Egyptian prostration, get on your knees, put your hands forward on the floor, thumbs together, and as you lean forward, rest your forehead on the back of your hands. And in that posture, in that prostration, sing the mantra Ra 7 times. When we sing this mantra Ra, Ra invites the blood to vibrate. The blood is what carries our consciousness. Ra 7 times. And with this, we complete the practice of pranayama. The benefit of this is that pranayama dissipates laziness. It dissipates our clumsiness. It dissipates our darkness and our inertia. It gives us the necessary energy so that we can fuel our spiritual practice. Now, Samael gives a recommendation. When you are practicing pranayama, your room must be clean. Your room must be organized. That external reflection, make an effort so that it is clean and organized. There are no smells, that there's no clutter. Make that reflection, that outside, a reflection of what you need that inner aspect to be. And then we also spoke about HAM-SAH. HAM-SAH is another exercise of harnessing these winds. HAM-SAH is Sanskrit, and aham means I am, and sa means el, him, or that. So for all purposes, HAM-SAH is saying I am El. El is the name of God in that realm of the innermost where we carry our being. So I am that divinity. How do we practice HAM-SAH? Practice of HAM-SAH takes a little longer than the 6 pranayamas. Usually do this practice for around 10 minutes. So to do it, we will do similar things as when we do the practice of the Egyptian pranayama. We will sit comfortably on a chair and we will be facing east. But when we're sitting on a chair, allow your left hand to rest on your lap with the palm up and the right hand to rest comfortably on your left hand. That will be the posture. As you relax the body, you will breathe gently, slowly through the nose, and as you're inhaling, you will sing the mantra Ham. Eventually your lungs will be full. As you are filling up those lungs, visualize, use your imagination, your clairvoyant faculty, your objective imagination to see the flow of those creative energies rising all the way up to the brain. Visualizing and mentally singing the mantra Ham. And when it comes time to exhale, we will exhale rapidly through the mouth, but we will exhale in such a way that the exhalation is gentle. We're not going to bring stress into the body when we exhale. You see that? That letter H, it's always like a deep breath, like a deep exhalation. That's the way we do it. Well, what is it that we will avoid? We will not do this. No, that brings too much stress. We cannot be stressed. The body has to be relaxed. Inhale gently. As we're doing this practice, we're slowly pumping that cerebral spinal fluid all the way up to the brain, charged with this prana. Samael says, make an effort when you do this practice so that the inhalation becomes eternal. So a very slow, long inhalation, a gentle, rapid exhalation. This is the practice. We just do this for 10 minutes. With this practice, as you start developing the ability to calm the mind, to achieve a state of pratyahara, which is a state of no thinking. Samael says with this practice, you can achieve the illuminating void. What does that mean? That means that with this practice, with that flow, that cerebral spinal fluid within the physical constitution charged with prana, a mind that is not thinking, enough energy is built so that you can emancipate. That means the consciousness is able to escape the battle of the ego and suddenly find itself, I am El, within the space of the innermost, experiencing itself as a consciousness without any of these psychological aggregates. Wow. This is the practice of HAM-SAH. So what does the master says? He says, beseech your divine mother Kundalini. Beg her with infinite love to rise, to make the sexual energies reach the heart and even further to the very profound depth of your consciousness. So dear friends, this is what we wanted to share with you tonight. This is the practice of the Egyptian Christic Pranayama and the practice of HAM-SAH. Dear friends, thank you so much for joining us this evening. We hope that these practices will be crucial and transformative for you. To everyone, have a good evening. May all beings be happy.